Yes, it's true. Our mother has seen hell, purgatory. She has seen the judgment of souls. But where do I start? Perhaps one could say that everything started at sea, when she was still in her mother's womb, and her mother was returning from a pilgrimage to Ireland. There, God's hand was manifested.
You were saved from death for the daughter you carry in your womb. Thus raise her in the love of God, since she was given to you by God.
The noble woman, Bridget Burgersdotter, related to the family that ruled Sweden from the middle of the 13th century, world-renowned as Saint Bridget of Sweden, belongs to a specific period in the history of the Church. A period in which the prophetic voices of women rise in all of Europe. Voices that carry messages for humanity. Lay women, consecrated women, mothers, daughters, aristocratic poor. In the uniqueness of their state, they all share a direct relationship with God and the word from above to be communicated and become part of history.
As you know, St. Bridget was a mother of 8 children, and there are stories of her already as a child receiving some visions. But the visions, revelations, we usually call them revelations, that she was known for, they began in the middle of the 14th century. And she was called by Christ, she experienced a calling to be the bride and channel or mouthpiece of Christ, the sponsa et canale of Jesus Christ.
You are at the Swedish History Museum, and our medieval collections are characterized by, in particular, the rich polychrome sculpture from both the early medieval period, which is 12th, 13th century, and also the late medieval period. In difference to a lot of other reformed countries in Europe, Sweden did not have an iconoclasm, and a lot of the medieval art remained in the churches. And it's not until perhaps the 17th, 18th and 19th century that church art really changed and became more in accordance with Lutheran teachings. There was a great impact of St. Brigid on Swedish ecclesiastic art, both because she became a very important saint, so she's pictured in a lot of altarpieces, for instance the one behind me, but also because some of her visions were represented in art, for instance the very famous vision of the birth of Christ, a vision she had in Bethlehem.
We could say that at the moment that Saint Bridget appears in Swedish history, the medieval church had come to its full development. Sweden received Christianity quite late, but at that time the church was established, many monasteries were established, especially Cistercians, and those monasteries were very important for her, and their spirituality meant a lot for her. But we could say God had prepared the way for her, and she could really be in the heart of the church. We know that the church meant so much for her. We shall see later on in her life that she saw herself as really a person that had a special vocation for the church, for the Pope. But the main thing, of course, was her personal vocation to be the bride of Christ, to live this personal relationship and receive his messages and transmit them to the church and the society of her time.
Bridget, courage.
Let us rejoice and be glad and give him glory. For the wedding day of the Lamb has come. His bride has made herself ready.
What does it mean, Mother? Who is the bride of the Lamb?
It means that Christ, the Lamb of God, has married the church.
No, read me more, Mother.
We have to go now, Bridget.
Oh, my Lord, who did this to you?
Those who despise and forget my love.
It has been rightly affirmed that St. Francis was the father of mystical women. His lesson, his legacy, was received by these medieval mystics as God is love. Thus God inhabits the heart of man and transforms it. In the heart of man, God awaits, not only to be contemplated, the monastic contemplatio, but also awaits to be loved really. Because there is an abyss between man and God. Indeed, they're not of comparable size, but love overcomes every obstacle.
With the passing of the years, that wonderful voice, heard in a dream by the mother, that prophecy, didn't seem like it would develop. In fact, pretty soon, she was offered in marriage to a young nobleman, Ulf. In her heart, there was the desire to enter a monastery, but she did not want to say no to her father, and so she accepted.
These are the years of unrest in Sweden, years in which the battles for power lead to acts of atrocity and violence of brother against brother.
Birger! Let me go! Let me go! Brother, what are you doing? What are you doing? Birger! Birger! Let me go! Let me go! Brother! Brother! Birger! Birger! The life of your brothers for the kingdom! Birger!
Of hunger? He let them die of hunger. He let his own brothers die of hunger like dogs.
He deceived them. He invited them to his castle, pretending he wanted to reconcile with them for Christmas.
We can't stay without doing anything. We have to act promptly.
The situation is not simple. King Birger must definitively be dethroned. We cannot agree to keep him on a throne stained with the blood of his brothers. But how? And most importantly, the true question is, who can become King of Sweden? There is no one who can silence every voice.
Ulf.
Your wife.
Bridget, I'm sure your support won't fail.
A throne stained by innocent blood can't be washed away by other blood. You are a righteous judge, but trust in the Lord for what you intend to do. He will know how to guide you.
Little Magnus, he is your cousin.
A child king will without a doubt be better than a killer king. But the responsibility of whomever will be at his side will be that much greater.
Our parents felt called to commit themselves to justice and peace in Sweden. My father had important assignments at the Royal Council. He traveled a lot, while my mother chose the better part.
O Jesus Christ, eternal sweetness to those who love you, joy surpassing all joy and all desire, salvation and hope of all sinners who have proved that you have no greater desire than to be among men, even assuming human nature at the fullness of time for the love of men. Recall all the sufferings you have endured from the instant of your conception, and especially during your passion, as it was decreed and ordained from all eternity in the divine plan. Remember, O Lord, that during the Last Supper with your disciples, having washed their feet, you gave them your most precious body and blood. And while at the same time you did sweetly console them, you did foretell them your coming passion.